and he joins us this morning on the Harbor One hotline. Hello, Rob.
All right, let's go. Hey, I heard you guys talking about Courtney's Instagram stories.
Yes.
Right? So I went obviously straight to her Instagram page.
I don't think she posts enough.
No, I don't. I was shocked, not shocked, but I was pleasantly surprised that the first one I saw this morning was Santo stomping on grapes, yelling McFarland. So that was excellent. Excellent job.
Can you still do that? Do they let? I hope they don't let in this day and age when it comes to, the germs. I hope they don't let people and their dirty feet stomp on the grapes at Camus.
One of the great YouTube clips. Do yourself a favor later today.
I know what you're
the woman falling while stomping grapes on local TV.
Tremendous.
The noise she makes when she falls is the greatest thing I have ever heard.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, I know that I know that you can yell McFarland. I know that is certainly allowed. In terms of stomping on grapes, the I Love Lucy show, I think, perfected that. Speaking of YouTube, go look up that clip.
Topical reference there.
Exactly. Well, listen, we're lowering the demographic in baseball, right? Here we go.
the baseball guy with an I Love Lucy reference. Could anything be more perfect than that?
And then he wants to tell us baseball isn't boring, but he goes right to Lucy.
It's the same thing happened on one of those serials that you used to listen to on the radio.
I gotta listen to my stories.
Everyone, and all married couples sleep in separate beds. So there you go.
Speaking of things that you might want to yell, I'm fond of yelling. It's about the defense, stupid. And Red Sox blow another one here based on the ease.
Yeah, it was just a terrible look across the board last night. Number one, oh my goodness. A rain delay in the 10th inning. Talk about insult to injury. It's just even for those people who had the student nines. I mean, they were out of there. We're like, no one's gonna sit through that.
I was gonna say, did the diehards stick around?
Nah. And plus, that came right after one of the aforementioned errors that you're talking about with Tristan Casas, and it's the same old story. It's incredible. It's the defense, and it's not like you're going to go out and it's like, okay, fellas, let's take some ground balls. Okay, fellas, let's take some fly balls. That's not how this works.
Rob, that's a guy that you've been waiting 4 years for.
For who? Tristan Casas?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I think he's the least of their problems defensively. He made a bad play. And he's slowly coming along. But here's the problem, and I'm glad you brought that up, is that what you should have is that you should have the certainty. You should have the guys that you know what they're going to do while you try to figure out the Tristan Casases of the world. I'm going to date myself once again. 2007, this has been referenced a bunch of times, when Pedroia hits under 200, but they have this litany of stars in that lineup, including Alex Cora hitting 400. Why Pedroia is figuring this out? Well, you don't have that luxury here. And what we've seen in the last, whatever it was, since that 8-game win streak, that was a perfect example. The stat that jumped out, this isn't a fielding stat, but the stat that I was looking at this morning, I couldn't believe it. Since May 21st, so this is 21 games, they've have one home run with runners in scoring position. That's crazy. You have to figure out ways where you find the guys who are certainty. And the problem is the one guy that you think that you have that is supposed to be the face of the team, as Alex Cora said, Rafael Devers, it's his team. He said that. It's his team, and he knows it's his team. Well, right now, as we sit here, he has the 10th best OPS amongst third basemen. Not in the Major League Baseball, which we want, among third basemen. No. And a year ago at this time, he had a 977 OPS. He was tearing it up. He was hitting 335. Well, now he's on an island here. He's expected to do more, and he's not doing more.
Well, he was playing for a deal last year.
Well, and also, I don't think you can discount that there was guys around him, right? I mean, I think that you can make a case for the Justin Turners of the world and the Yoshidas of the world, and I think they're good players, but you need the good players, and then you need more good players around a guy like that. And Ortiz had the winter weekend interviews, which we say it was a Pavetta versus Curtis interview at the top of the heap, and then everything else. But Ortiz also said at the winter weekend, he said, I'm a little worried about the protection that Devers is going to get in that lineup, and I think he's gotten decent. But the fact of the matter is the results haven't been there, and you desperately need results from this guy.
Rob, are you surprised that they're a middling team? Because I'm not. I feel like the front office built this team as a bridge, as a gap between the young phenoms arriving and the team being ready to go. They're just not a very good baseball team, right? I mean, is that sort of just the case?
No. Well, we said this at the beginning. I said it a million times. It was the credo was 2023 Red Sox. Maybe we didn't know, and I mean this is and it hasn't changed. And that was the problem. I think that the way that they built this team was that you had to have a lot of things go right. You had to have the best version of a lot of things that you didn't know you were going to get the best version of. And they have in a lot of cases. Certainly they have. But they haven't had it enough. In other words, you haven't had enough of this somebody step up to be the star, the alpha. Devers hasn't really been that as much as he has been in the past. You haven't seen it across the board from some of these other guys. You mentioned Tristan Casas. Well, we shouldn't have to look at this guy and say, lean on him, but you need him to do more than he's been doing. That's the problem. So to answer your question, Chris, I think that nothing's changed. That they needed a lot of things to break right, and some things have broken right, and you know where it's landed? Exactly what happened, where it should land when you have that sort of plan, which is right around 500.
How is Devers hitting into a double play with bases loaded on the hitters around him?
I'm not saying that was the case of him. I'm talking about the overall body of work.
Okay.
If you listen, if you like how is it that you are not able to resist that chicken finger in the suite? I don't judge you off of that one moment,
okay.
Right?
All right, it's the body of work.
It's the body.
Okay.
I just said it
okay.
A year ago. It's not. He's got a 977 OPS and a 335 batting average. That's not. He later in the game, by the way, he hits a ball that should have been a home run. A guy Nolan Jones made a great catch on.
Yep.
Good for him. All I'm saying is that you need a better version of Devers across the board while you figure out get some of these other guys going. And I don't. Devers is just a fraction of the issue here. The bigger issue is you don't have enough of these other guys stepping up, and that's just how it is. And yeah, sure, they stepped up to begin the game and they loaded the bases. That's fine. But I would say this. What did they do after? Nothing. And that's what you can't have, and that's what's been happening.
So, Bradford, if they're a team that you go at the beginning of the year, it's maybe, and then they are what they are, what's the expectations for fans moving forward when, all right, knowing you got a maybe team and guys who they are, how could there be any type of high expectations? And I'm not talking about this year, but moving forward when you look at the pieces that are in place right now.
Well, so it's a good question, right? So a month ago,
all I do is ask good questions.
Yeah, that was a good one, Wiggs. You're on fire.
I'm playing the role
Appreciate
of Sam Kennedy. That's a great question, Wiggy.
Now you have to start laughing awkwardly.
Yeah, so
Also a lengthy question, but go ahead and answer it.
Howard Stern said there's nothing wrong with length.
Wiggy masters the art of workshopping a question within the question.
Sit.
Well, if you have 3 questions in there, odds are one of them is going to stick.
That's what Howard Stern said.
Right?
A month ago, right? You're off an 8-game win streak. You feel great about it, and you figure okay, by the time you've landed here, you're playing the Rockies. You know what's going to be awesome? The Celtics are going to play the Nuggets in the NBA Finals, and you're going to wax the Rockies, one of the worst teams in baseball, while you go on a win streak. Well, none of that has happened. And what has happened is also the perception of sports fans, where now where you've landed. I'll go back to a year ago. Where you landed a year ago, you were on this incredible hot streak, and you landed, I think, at the end of the month, 10 games over 500, and you had people believing. right now the problem is you don't have people believing. And to answer your question about how you get those, you can talk about Marcelo Meyer and Ceddanne Rafaela and all those other guys. But you can't keep finishing last, and in Boston, you can't keep doing this because, number one, we don't know how good those guys are going to be. You need to find a way to actually win games and get on the type of win streak you went on back in early May, which, by the way, since then, you've been really, really bad. You've been well beyond under 500. So I just think that they have to find a way to find this win streak. And when you have a team like Colorado coming in, that should be your gift. And obviously it wasn't last night.
All right, Rob Bradford, always a pleasure.
All right. Hey, listen, tomorrow, big first pitch tomorrow at Fenway. Oh. You're gonna want to watch it.
Really?
Joe Kelly?
Well, maybe.
Oh, wow, what a guess.
Not Joe Kelly, but an actor from one of Greg's favorite movies,
Citizen Kane.
Really?
Wow.
The hockey player turned figure skater, cutting edge, D.B. Sweeney. There you go.
Oh, really?
D.B. Sweeney.
There you go.
Why? Why is he?
He's in town. I mean, why not?
What's he doing? Is he filming a movie
He
here?
just filmed a huge Francis Ford Coppola movie. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, you know why Rob knows this? D.B. Sweeney famously announced Bradfo's first Hall of Fame ballot.
Yep.
Yes. All
Yes.
right.
Yeah. So flock to Fenway to catch up. Don't be late. Be in your seat in time. All right.
I hope he understands the pressure that comes with that obligation. It's not easy. It's not easy to stand up there and throw that thing over.
It was tough. I mean, you had the tough decision of throwing a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer, a sweeper, a changeup. I mean, you just couldn't make up your mind, right?
Yeah, I was more concerned with the seam of my pants, actually, because I thought I was going to rip. All right, Bradford, thank you. We'll talk to you next week. That is Rob. That's Rob Bradford.